Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Rundown. Today is Sunday, April 25th, 2021. This is episode 17. I know we're a day late, so let's get into it. It's going to be a relatively short episode. Today, this is the fourth Sunday of Easter, Good Shepherd Sunday, Easter weekdays throughout the week this week. Option memorials of St. Peter Chanel and Louis de Montfort on Wednesday, Catherine of Siena on Thursday, Pius V on Friday, St. Joseph the Worker on Saturday, and Our Lady of Lebanon on Sunday, being the first Sunday in the month of May. So some pretty good feasts this week, if I do say so myself. The Returning to Tradition podcast, the next episode will be out this Wednesday, as always, at noon Central, 1 Eastern. We're talking with Blake Bowie on his conversion. That's going to be around a 50-minute episode, but there's some really good stuff in there. A couple jokes. Blake brings up the weather, not myself. So if you want to hear somebody else talk about the weather, you can listen to Blake. Blake's not even a meteorology major, so that'll be fun if you stay around and listen to it. Severe weather-wise, we're looking at a couple storms on Tuesday, especially in the Texas Panhandle in western Oklahoma, perhaps into central Oklahoma as well. There were some storms on Friday and Saturday, especially in southwestern Oklahoma and in the Texas area near there, down throughout the southern United States near the Gulf Coast into the Florida Panhandle, including much of Alabama and Georgia as well. Here's a picture from a OU student, not affiliated with the university, of course, because, we can't go storm chasing. But there's his picture, credit given to him and his weather group there. Wicked weather. So very cool stuff there. Tropical weather-wise, nothing too crazy, nothing going on currently. Perhaps a formation north of Madagascar, although I think that already formed and made landfall, if I remember correctly. So that's the end of that story right there. Moving right along to Columbus, we're looking at nearly 70 degrees tomorrow, 80 degrees Tuesday and Wednesday. A little bit of rain Wednesday into Thursday, mid-60s to close out the week. And then it'll be around 70 by the time we get to next Sunday. So much nicer weather heading into the Columbus area. Much nicer weather also for Oklahoma after the cool week we had this past week. 80 degrees tomorrow, mid-70s, and rain Tuesday, Wednesday, potentially even Thursday as well. Flooding definitely going to be a concern, as it always is here in Norman with several days of rain. We're going to be around 70 Thursday and Friday, and it'll be 80 and nice by the time we get into next weekend. So we have that to look forward to. And our last segment this week, again, the news is part of the podcast now, kind of, sort of. So we aren't going to have news every single week, although, of course, there's always big things going on in this nation. Coronavirus video update 17, number 79 overall. Let's get into it. Michigan, again, continuing to screw up their lives or something like that. They're doing really bad with this whole COVID thing at the moment. Mostly due to the variants. So again, like we've been saying, the variants versus the vaccine. Daily new deaths, also Michigan leading the way there. Real quickly, if we go back to daily new cases, Oklahoma and California are comparable in terms of cases per capita. So that's notable right there. Pulling up the back of the pack for the United States being the best in terms of new cases per capita. Current hospitalizations, not too great overall. Michigan, and not doing too great either. Of course, they aren't doing great on any of the fronts. They're about middle of the pack in terms of daily vaccinations. New Hampshire, which we mentioned last week, was doing really well, has now decreased the number of vaccinations this week, probably because a majority of the people now have the first dose of the vaccine. As we see here, 60% almost have that first dose in the state of New Hampshire. Several other states, around a third to a half, is generally where we're at for most of the United States at this point in time in terms of vaccinations. People fully vaccinated, though, we're doing very well as well. Around 35% at the upper end and around 20% at the lower end in terms of the United States, and depending on, of course, your state. So you can compare your state to those numbers I just said out loud there. Overall, it looks like half the population, basically half of the adult population at least, has received that first dose, and 2/3 of the population over age 65 have received full vaccination at this point in time. And again, around 75-77% of the vaccines distributed have been administered. And that's been about the same number every single week, from week to week. The variance chart has not been updated by the CDC in nearly a month. I'm not sure why, but I am not the CDC, so I don't have answers for these things. So that's that. Infections over time, the CDC, if we looked at it last week, it was projecting that slight upward slope to continue. Now it's going more of a straight line, potentially even a little bit downward, which is definitely what we like to see in terms of vaccine cases or infection cases. So that's always a very good thing to see. As we move on to the whole world, the U.S. actually went down in terms of their number of cases, which is good. India went up nearly 1 million cases. Other countries throughout the world doing pretty well as well. Argentina joins the top 10. Poland dropped from number 9 all the way to number 14, which is good news for them. Of course, worldwide current cases just shy of 20 million after increasing around 1 million this past week. In the United States alone, however, Virginia has taken up the number 2 slot by around 1,000 cases from New York, which went down around 40,000 cases this past week. Virginia only went up about 10,000 cases. Most of the states only up and down less than 10,000. For example, Maryland, it went up only 8,000. Florida went down 15, and that caused those two states to flip their 4 and 5 slots. New Jersey held constant cases. Washington only went up 5,000, but Georgia dropped 40,000, and so they dropped from number 8 to number 10. Nothing too crazy in terms of new COVID news this week. Again, like I said, lots of other crazy things happening throughout the nation this past week. So be sure to take in that information with the full knowledge of what these companies are actually trying to say and not just their agendas. In any case, this has been The Rundown. I've been Chris Dixon, InfoWeather, Catholic Media.